So Amy is going to lead us into a chant, and then Reverend Marjorie will give us our opening spiritual mind treatment, which is affirmative prayer. And so just go within and begin to prepare yourself for this time.
I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I remember who I am as I affirm that there is one life, one spirit, one divine presence by any name that I may call it. I know it as that creative intelligence that has created this outstanding, incredible world that I live in, and that is the source of everything all the time. So knowing that all is well in this world, I remember and declare that I am this presence. That just as this intelligence has made the earth and the sky and the trees, it has made me in its image, in the sense that I am every possibility. I am love at my very core. I am peace, I am power, and I have choice. In every moment, I can remember to declare myself as a spiritual human being, having this life experience just for the joy of it. So from this place of power where I know myself as spirit, I declare that I am vitality and health, and that everything in my body that has not been working to my satisfaction is healed now. I declare that I am the prosperity of spirit, that my wallet is the wallet of spirit, and that I am infinitely supplied with everything that I could possibly desire. I declare in this moment that I am love itself, and that this love that I am is limitless, and it spreads into all of my relationships, so that I move through the world creating harmony and joy. And I declare that this intelligence is expressing as me as a creative urge. So I bring this creativity to my work, to my play, into everything that I do. I am a creative being. Knowing all of this about me, I give thanks for the profound beauty of my life, for the freedom that I experience, for this center, for the people that I spend my time with, for the people that I work with. I have the capacity to create a life of joy and meaning, and in so doing, I create a world that works for everyone. In gratitude for my own expression as spirit, in gratitude for spirit underpinning everything, in gratitude for this center, I release this word, knowing that it is so for all of us, right here, right now, as spoken. So together, let us declare, and so it is. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am.
And so from this place of open-heartedness, from that beautiful song and that beautiful prayer, I invite you now to repeat with me our vision and our mission statements. These are who we are, especially for our new people. This is who we are. This is what we stand for. So let's say this together. The Calgary Centre for Spiritual Living is a beacon of spiritual illumination that inspires individuals to reveal their wholeness, co-creating a world that works for everyone. We're going to talk in a little bit about what it means to have a world that works for everyone. But that truly is the goal. It doesn't mean a world that works the same. It's a world that works for everyone. And let's say our mission together. The Calgary Centre for Spiritual Living makes accessible a way of living and thinking that reveals one's spiritual magnificence and personal power. We co-create an inclusive community that fosters an expansion of consciousness. We co-create together. We use that word a lot in this teaching. We are co-creating not only with one another, but with the divine. We are working in conjunction with that which is the great I am, to create a world of consciousness and power and magnificence. Thank you, my darlings. As always, it's wonderful to have you here, and there's more to come. Thank you. We have a number of new people, so you may not know that our music program is pretty darn good. It's come up with something more profound than that. It is becoming recognized within our organization, and of course, each one of these musicians, each one of them are some of the finest working musicians in the Calgary area. I mean, they gig on Friday night or on Saturday night, and they come here on Sunday morning. And we are so blessed to have this caliber of music. Please welcome Amy Bishop, and they call themselves the Hopeless Sinners. I know.
There's more than one road to every destination. There's more than one path to any place you go. And the clearest way for me might be the wrong road for you. Different paths, but you get to choose. 'Cause there's more than one road.
more than one road. There's more than one road to get you where you're going. We are all unique expressions of an ever-present spirit. It's in all that we are, and in every voice we hear it. There is only one life, but how you live, that's your decision. Be carried along. But you can choose to have a vision, 'cause there's more than one road. More than one road. There's more than one road to get you where you're going. And it isn't how you get there that's the measure of your worth. 'Cause there are as many paths to God as there are people on this earth. There's more than one road. More than one road. There's more than one road. Get you where you're going. There's more than one road to get you where you're going. Get you where you're going.
Amy Bishop, Oliver Miguel, Chance Devlin, Louise Tovar, and Lisa Jacobs. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Amy, that's an original, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I knew that. I knew that. Hi, Lisa. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. So believe it or not, I'm actually cold up here. I know it won't last. It won't last, so get excited. I'll just turn it down. I know I never get cold up here. That was just wonderful, thank you. It's basically my talk, so we could just go home if you guys would like. There's a football game on. Oh, that's right. The supposed Los Angeles Chargers. I'm sorry, I lived in San Diego all my life. They are the San Diego Chargers. They just moved to LA and are winning. Oh, gosh. So would you breathe with me, please? Taking a deep breath. And again. And one more deep, deep breath. And let it out. Thanks. So many of you know that I went to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Toronto back in November of last year. And the Parliament is a 7-day gathering of about 8,000 people representing 200 different faith traditions, more than one road. Now, the original Parliament, I've told you some of this before, but the original Parliament was held in 1893 as part of the Chicago World's Fair. It was the largest interfaith gathering that had ever happened up until that time. And it was a big, big deal. And it was made partially famous by an address by Swami Vivekananda, who addressed the crowd in such a way that people just fell in love with him and fell in love with his demeanor and fell in love with what he had to share of Eastern faith traditions. And what happened was, it was the first introduction to many, many people in the West of these Eastern faith traditions that we now take for granted. I mean, they're woven into our everyday lives. Who doesn't do yoga or meditate or practice mindfulness or color mandalas or chant? It has become part of the fabric of who we are. But back in 1893, when this was first introduced, it was absolutely groundbreaking. And it was very exotic. You can imagine how exotic that was. But what was funny about this is that even though the Parliament was this big, huge deal in 1893, this gathering of interfaith people from all over the world, it didn't happen again until 1993. I know. It's just 100 years later, it took, there were things like, world wars and, Great Depressions and stuff like that. So what happened was there was a group of people who said, this is too important to not have happen. So there's this group of people who are committed to bringing a Parliament of the World's Religions to the world now every couple of years. And the most recent one was the one I went to in Toronto in November. And as I shared when I got back from the Parliament, I didn't love everything about it. There were a lot of conversations that were political. They were social activism. They were about the environment. And activism is not my thing. I've been very honest with you about that. It's not my thing. I'm all kumbaya. And when everybody just love one another, right? So I was drawn to the discussions and the workshops and that type of thing that was all about love and compassion and oneness. That's what calls to me. That's what fills my heart. Fortunately, this Parliament is so big and the offerings were so vast that it was plenty of stuff to go around for people of all ilks. So I'm going to tell you that it was held in the Toronto Convention Centre, which is absolutely huge. Has anybody been there before? The Toronto, so to get from one side of the convention center to the other, and there were gatherings everywhere, right? So to get from the bottom floor of one side, you had to go up 3 escalators. You had to walk down this super, super, super long hallway, and then go down like 4 more escalators to get to where the places were. I mean, this place is just absolutely huge. So along this long hallway, You understand, there were all kinds of posters and there were wall hangings for people to look at because it was really long and kind of boring, right? So they had things there for you to look at. And there were things like the history of the Parliament and a poster about Swami Vivekananda and about the founders of different religions. But the one that caught my eye the most was the one on the Golden Rule. So let me show you. These are some of the posters. These were huge. These were like as high up as our ceiling. The first one is the Golden Rule in philosophy, and the second one is the Golden Rule in world's religions. We're going to talk about that. So who here was brought up with the Golden Rule? Who was brought up with, and it was what? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you, right? Now, if you're like me, you think that the Golden Rule was brought to us by Jesus in the Christian Holy Bible, right? But what most people don't know, I didn't know this until I started studying it, is that the Golden Rule, or the idea, the version of the Golden Rule, was actually taught by Confucius over 500 years before Jesus. And his was, let me get this, what you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. Confucius says, what you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. And because this is a basic spiritual teaching, it turns out that practically all of the world's faith traditions has some form of the Golden Rule. So I'm going to share some of those with you. In Judaism, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. That comes straight from the Old Testament, right? In Islam, which is the sister religion to Judaism, it's the big three Abrahamic religions, right? Not one of you is a believer until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. In the Baha'i faith, which is also stemming from those Abrahamic religions, if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. In Buddhism, now we're going to the Eastern traditions, hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. In Hinduism, those acts that you consider good when done to you, do those to others, none else. In Jainism, just as pain is not agreeable to you, it is so with others. Knowing this principle of equality, treat others with respect and compassion. Shinto, a Japanese faith tradition, the heart of the person before you is a mirror. See there your own form. The Taoism, regard your neighbor's gain as your own gain, and your neighbor's loss as your own loss. And finally, Yoruba, which is from Nigeria, one going to take a pointed stick to pinch a baby bird should try it on himself to feel how it hurts. That's just a sampling of what we're talking about. And one of the reasons why this central theme runs through almost all of the world's traditions is because it is based on an infallible truth, or what we like to say in this teaching, a law. Now, when I'm talking about a law in this case, I'm not talking about man-made legal laws like speed limits or not smoking in public places, or before October, marijuana was illegal, and then after October, marijuana was legal again. These are man-made rules, right? Yeah. I'm also not talking about man-made religious rules, because you understand that practically every rule or law that we were taught, or that people are taught in religion, did not come directly from the divine. They came as a result of man's version of what's right, like don't eat meat on Friday, or you have to cover your head in order to worship, or you have to sacrifice something in order to know God. Because the problem with man-made laws is that whether they're legal or whether they're religious, they can be changed by man. Case in point, October. right? I mean, eating meat on Fridays was considered a mortal sin. You were going to go to hell if you ate meat on Fridays. Until it wasn't. Probably because a pope wanted to eat a steak on a Friday. So the laws that I'm talking about here, the physical laws like gravity or electricity, or the spiritual laws like cause and effect or attraction, are not man-made laws. They are unchangeable. They are absolute. They are infallible. We didn't make them up. They exist because spiritual or physical laws govern how the universe works. Governs our understanding of the universe. And the thing about physical laws or spiritual laws is they always work. It's not like gravity sometimes says, you know what? I'm going to take a day off today. I'm going to go eat a steak. No. Gravity, cause and effect, attraction, electricity always work all the time, alike for everyone. And so it is with the golden rule, also known as the law of reciprocity. It's a big word, isn't it? So I looked up the word reciprocity, and its root word, of course, is reciprocal. And some of its synonyms are mutual, give and take, shared, joint, equal. So the law of reciprocity, we are talking about the action of the law that benefits both the receiver and the giver. So when we decide to practice or partake in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, and we take into consider what the other person is feeling, we are working with a universal law that not only blesses the other people, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, but it also blesses you. It is reciprocal. The law of reciprocity. Now, of course, that is a beneficial byproduct of the golden rule, but it isn't the most compelling reason to practice the golden rule. The most compelling reason to practice the golden rule is because it is our nature. When we are doing it, we are in harmony with the universe. Everybody take a breath and feel into that. When we practice the golden rule, we are in harmony with the universe. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said that he describes God or the universe as divine givingness, the outpouring of life, and that's life with a capital L, the outpouring of life in everything, on everything, and through everything. Givingness is its nature. And because we are part of it, we are made of it, we are not separate from it, givingness is also our nature. Therefore, that means that to be giving, to be loving, to be compassionate and respectful is our nature. Yes? You with me? So, several years ago, I've been doing this a long time. I'm in my 21st year of ministry. I know. And I still learn stuff, which is super cool. So I heard about a new take on the golden rule that caused me to go, that's interesting. I need to think on that one. And it is referred to as the platinum rule. Now, bear with me. Do unto others as they would have you do unto them, not as you would have them do unto you. I'm going to explain that because that's a lot of words. Do unto others as they would have you do unto them, not as you would have them do unto you. The further explanation of that is understanding and accommodating for the fact that not everyone wants to be treated the same way. It says that we should treat people how they want to be treated, regardless of how we might personally want to be treated in similar situations. I know. I'm hearing people going, I think this is pretty interesting. I've given some thought to this. Because the truth is, how often do we think we know what's right for another person? Any of you parents? Any of you any of you siblings? Yep. So we think we know what's right for the other person. And then we find out that what is right is based on how we would want to be treated, not what works for the other person. So maybe to truly live the law of reciprocity, and we're still talking about the law of reciprocity, is putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes and truly striving to understand what it is that they want, how they want to be treated, which might be different than how we would want to be treated in that situation. For instance, part of our vision statement that we spent some time with today, part of our vision statement is co-creating a world that works for everyone. It's also part of the vision statement for our parent organization, Centers for Spiritual Living. And it's beautiful. I love saying it. We're co-creating a world that works for everyone, but it could be misconstrued as creating a world that works for everyone according to what I think it should be rather than what somebody else thinks it should be. Are you with me? Because if there's somebody from a different culture or has a different view of life than how I want to live, what I think is co-creating a world that works for everyone may not be what they think is a world that works for everyone. So I was having a discussion earlier this week with Tammy right over here, and she said, I don't quite understand. You say we're co-creating a world that works for everyone, which doesn't necessarily mean a world that works the same. Can you explain that? And I shared this photo with her. So it shows 4 seemingly African boys, and it says the children in America are forced to spend 8 hours sitting in classrooms. Then they are drugged when they move too much or make too much noise, and their primary source of entertainment is the television. And the other one says, that's horrible. We should take up donations for them. Now, to me, this is a perfect illustration of the platinum rule. Do unto others as they would have you do unto them. Some people might think, well, let's gather up these kids and bring them to Canada, or let's bring them to the United States and educate them in the way that we think the world works. You with me so far? Yeah. So I want to close with a really sweet story. I Googled Golden Rule stories. And I found this one that it just really spoke to me. So I'm going to close with this. There once lived a monkey and a fish. The monkey followed the golden rule, always trying to treat others as he wanted to be treated. But he sometimes applied the rule foolishly. One day, a big flood came. As the threatening waters rose, the foolish monkey climbed a tree to safety. Then he looked down and he saw a fish struggling in the water. He thought, I wanted to be lifted from the water. So he reached down, grabbed the fish from the water, and took him to a high branch. And of course, that didn't work, because the fish died. Now, another monkey who lived on the same island was a wise monkey that followed the platinum rule. And she learned that fish die when they are taken from the water. So when the flood came and she saw the fish, she considered taking the fish from the water. But she imagined herself in his situation. And she asked herself, if I were in the same situation as the fish, would I want to be taken from the water? And the answer she came up with was, gosh, no, that would kill me. And so she left the fish in the water. Now, the first monkey applied the golden rule literally. Treat others as you want to be treated. He wanted to get out of the water, so he took the fish out of the water. He didn't consider that fish and monkeys are different. Being taken out of the water saves a monkey. It kills a fish. So the other monkey was much wiser. When she considered taking the fish out of the water, she tried to intuit the situation of the fish, who had different likes and different needs and different dislikes. And she imagined being in the fish's exact place. And then she acted on what was best for the fish. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that one rule is better than another. Both are applications of the law of reciprocity. I love the golden rule. I grew up with it. I do like to live from this golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It has stood the test of time for thousands of years. It has gone through countless, as we saw, countless interpretations. So don't discard the golden rule. The platinum rule is just a newer way of interpreting it that might be a little more effective in today's day and age. Because the bottom line is both of the rules are positive. They're both life-affirming. Both are going to improve the lives of others because both are working in harmony and conjunction with the law of reciprocity. And regardless of which one you choose to practice, it is putting you squarely into harmony with the universe. Edwin Markham wrote, "We have committed the golden rule to memory. Let us now commit it to life." And that's all I got to say about that, and so it is. You ready? I am. All right. Here they come. You guys are in the nursery, huh? Yeah, what were you doing? Yeah, were you playing with babies? Yeah. Any particular babies? Louise's baby's here. I know, Emily. Hi, Emily. Please welcome again our amazing and wonderful musicians.
Welcome to the stage, Amy Bishop. Turn me up.
You can go ahead and tiptoe through your life, digging in the dirt, you can stress on the strife. I'm gonna fly past the worry and the pain, 'cause today I'm flying on faith, flying on faith. You can cry all night about the things that you hate, so dissatisfied in so many ways. I'm gonna find a way to celebrate, 'cause today I'm flying on faith.
Flying on faith.
Flying on faith.
Faith.
Picked up my baggage and I threw it out the door. Not looking back because the past is such a bore. Gonna stand with the moon and the stars up in my face. 'Cause today I'm flying on faith. Flying on faith. You could hurry, full of worry, let the fear take you out. Imagining the worst, overcome with doubt. There's no way to know, knowing is the only way. 'Cause today I'm flying on faith.
Flying on faith.
Flying on faith.
Faith.
Picked up my baggage and I threw it out the door. Not looking back because the past is such a bore. I'm gonna stand with the moon and the stars up in my face today, 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 today. I'm flying on faith.
Flying on faith.
Flying on faith.
Faith.
Woo. You can go ahead and tiptoe through your life, digging in the dirt, you can stress on the strife, but I'm gonna fly past the worry and the pain. 'Cause today I'm flying on faith.
Woo! Give it up for Chance. Woo! Amy Bishop. Oliver, Luis, Lisa. Woo! Flying on faith. I thought we were going to keep on going. I was ready.